Every time somebody leaks from within the MAGA administration, on the other side of that leak is unapologetic, unrepentant, racist, and Nazi rhetoric. Kylie, put up this headline. Embattled Trump nominee Paul Ingrassia told Republicans that Martin Luther King Jr. holiday should be, quote, tossed into the seventh circle of hell, and that he has, quote, a Nazi streak, according to a group chat viewed by Politico. And then here are the chats. Paul belongs in the Hitler Youth with Uber-Gruppenführer Steve Bannon. And Paul says, I do have a Nazi streak in me from time to time. I will admit it. And then he goes on to say, MLK Jr. was the 1960s George Floyd, and his holiday should be ended and tossed into the seventh circle of hell where it belongs. Never trust a Chinaman or an Indian, never. I said we're making Kwanzaa illegal in the next Trump admin. That was the gist of my tweet. From Kwanzaa to MLK Jr. Day to Black History Month to Juneteenth, every single one needs to be eviscerated. So this is what's in the MAGA movement. And they want to constantly say, oh, no, we're not racist. Y'all are race hustlers. But at the epicenter of all of the movement is this type of leak. And it is representative in their policies. When you have Kanks talking about allowing white South Africans in, but not black South Africans in, and wanting to have an immigration system that's more favorable to people with white skin than those that may have black or brown skin, it's obvious. The decades-long history of Kanks racism is obvious. So it's also, he's a convicted felon. So you have bottom feeders that agree to go work for him.
It's amazing to me that these people are proud to identify themselves as Nazis. They feel emboldened and thrilled to tell people that they are racist. You know, we want to get rid of all these holidays, seventh circle of hell. Like, in no world did this person send these tweets and think, man, I probably shouldn't.
Well, these are text messages. These aren't tweets. These are text messages. Yeah.
He's, sending these text messages, like it never occurred to him, like maybe this won't be well received, because he knew it would be. He knew he would be applauded for saying he was a Nazi and a racist. That's how deplorable these people are.
And this is where you get the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, who apologized or made an excuse for Elon Musk's Sig Heil. And you have this dangerous flirtation with Israeli groups that are hell-bent on Benjamin Netanyahu's regime winning out, where they turn a blind eye to anti-Semitism and don't call it out directly, because at the heart of the MAGA movement are a lot of anti-Semites and unrepentant racists. But also at the heart of the MAGA movement is Russ Vought. And he just, ProPublica did some astounding journalism. Russ Vought set out to ensure a second Trump term would not be hampered by checks and balances. Russ Vought says, I don't want President Trump having to lose a moment of time having fights in the Oval Office about whether something is legal or doable or moral. So this to me tells me what I say all the time. We're playing two different games here. Right. When Biden won, a lot of the people in the base wanted him to expand the court. We wanted very quick justice against the January 6th insurrectionists. And Democrats govern incrementally, but they also govern with, oh, if we do this, then they're going to do that. So what happens is we do the bare minimum while they come in and break laws and break the country and break the Constitution, because we're playing two different games here. And if we are able to get to the midterms, and if there is a blue wave, they need to go full tilt. And these moderate corporate Democrats are not the people who are going to take us over the finish line. These are the MAGA-light Democrats who collude with AIPAC and the ADL to cover for a complete war criminal, Benjamin Netanyahu.
Well, and you think about it, he doesn't want anybody to be moral, yet the whole Republican Party and MAGA sit around and talking about how they're the Christians and they're the family values and look to them. They are the most immoral, criminal. They voted for criminals. I mean, full mic drop there. They voted for a criminal, and morals are not something they even consider.
All right, moving along, we have another ProPublica story, and this one is really, really alarming. Pop this up, Kylie.
New reporting by ProPublica finds that at least 170 U.S. citizens have been caught up in the Trump's campaign of mass deportation. ProPublica reports this, quote, Americans have been dragged, tackled, beaten, tased, and shot by immigration agents. They've had their necks kneeled on. They've been held outside in the rain while in their underwear. At least 3 citizens were pregnant when agents detained them. One of those women had already had the door of her home blown off while Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem watched. Among the citizens detained are nearly 20 children, including 2 who have cancer. That includes 4 who were held for weeks with their undocumented mother and without access to their family's attorney until a congresswoman intervened. This is not an accident. It is the inevitable result of the way that Donald Trump's Department of Homeland Security has empowered ICE agents, and one that puts us that much closer to an autocracy. ProPublica report.
Okay, so I want you to think about this. Kristi Noem and little Moses Mike Grinder Johnson and a lot of the others in this administration are constantly Christian signaling. Mm-hmm. And there in the reporting from ProPublica via Nicole Wallace on MSNBC, we hear that Kristi Noem is sitting there watching the cruelty. We know that Nancy Mace, who goes on and on about what a big Christian she is and how moral she is, for fun goes and watches ICE raids. We know that Fox News, Jesse Waters, talks about how fun it is to watch ICE raids. We know that on Fox News, they've discussed killing homeless people. And so these are 170 U.S. citizens that have been treated like this. And the cowardice Republican Party and the cowardice Supreme Court and the ICE agents that participate in this, all of this dishonor and all of this terrorizing of U.S. citizens completely transforms the complexion of our country. And everything underneath, when you break the rule of law, everything comes apart. The economy comes apart. All of these big industry titans, you have a contract you need to go into a court and enforce. Good luck. It's going to be who pays kanks the most. It's going to be who can curry favor with the judges the most. Everything under this completely falls apart, and shame on the Supreme Court for allowing a convicted felon to ascend this high to the most powerful position in the world with immunity.
I look at this and I think the people at home watching this and Kristi Noem in real time, they like it. They like to see other people tortured, because at the end of the day, their cruelty is what feeds them. And it is such a poor reflection of our country.
All right, moving along. Here we have little Moses Mike Grinder Johnson just glazing kanks. He is the most worthless American. If I make a list of the most worthless Americans, it's this guy. The most worthless Christian, it's this guy. The most worthless husband, it's this guy. This guy is good for absolutely nothing except for unapologetically glazing a demented, convicted felon criminal who is so immoral and so depraved, yet Moses Mike Grinder Johnson gets out there and does it with glee all day, every day. Play the clip.
I mean, this president has not only reduced taxes, as we said, we've cut fraud, waste, and abuse out of government. He solved the border crisis. He's solving the crime crisis. Oh, that's right. He's also resolving wars around the world, but he still takes time. That's right.
All right, stop right there and phrase it. Look at all those crusty white people, white men behind him. And the fact that everybody allows this embarrassing, cringy flattery at all times, this is a part of identifying what psychologists use to identify people that have personality disorders. Do you fall prey to superficial flattery? And every single time, Donald Trump falls prey to it. And that's one of the symptoms of having a personality disorder. and I get a crazy person in solitude. The everybody piling on and enabling this person is what is just so jarring to me. And I get a lot of the evangelicals doing it because growing up in an evangelical city, I know that the most immoral people I know, the people who have the least amount of empathy, the people who have the most entitlement have always been, in my orbit, evangelical Christians. They've been the most cruel towards poor people, the cruelest towards the sick people, and the most overtly entitled people I've ever met in my life. So Moses Grinder doesn't surprise me that much. But you get into like millions of people that are on board with this. And this is what authoritarians talk about, the personality cult. And we're not the first time that this has happened. But something really key is happening. And it is that there are fissures in this authoritarian regime because Kanks is frail. The bruises on the hand, the swollen ankles, the demented speech, the sundowner hour that he has all of the time in the Oval, the show and tell. And so he's surrounded by people, in my opinion, that are even more diabolical than he. And one of them is failed drag queen, smoky eye sociopath, Lil Smokey, J.D. Vance. And this is just breathtaking what he says here. They ask him about the illegal strikes killing innocent Colombian fishermen. And this is what he had to say. Play the clip.
Important for the American people to recognize these are narco terrorists who are trying to bring poison into our country and kill our citizens. What happens to them, I don't really care so long as they're not bringing poison into our country.
Wow. What happened to them, I don't really care. That's the difference. They are priming the public to be okay with doing away with evidence, facts, due process, and the rule of law. And this is a very dangerous game that all of these people are playing. All of the people that are donating to the White House ballroom, all of the industries that are donating to the White House ballroom, when you don't have a judicial system, when you have a fake judicial system, when you have fake elections, when you have leaders of your country that thumb their nose at the rule of law and endorse war crimes, your economy is going to fall apart. So you're fucking yourselves is what you're doing.
Well, here's the deal. J.D. Vance cannot stand up against racism on behalf of his own wife and children. So him not giving a shit about murdering people doesn't surprise me in the least. And I just want to remind everyone that he is saying they're narco terrorists, yet there has been no proof. And the people that did survive this latest crash in Colombia were returned to Colombia without charge. So they're not just allowing and watching crimes being committed, war crimes on a global stage. This administration is committing them.
All right, that's all we have for this episode. Like and subscribe to this video. Order our book. The link's below in the show notes, and we'll be back later with more news.